Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed since last time. Warped attempts to defend Josh Duggar. What Josh Duggar did is inexcusable, and the fact that his family and church apparently knew about it for years and did nothing is even worse. But what about the wrong-headed and occasionally quite creepy attempts by some to defend Josh? For instance, there's poor, clueless Eric Hovind, who claims that, you know what, if evolution is true, what Josh Duggar did isn't really wrong, because descent with modification cancels out morality, I guess. Worst of all might be Michael Seawald, the father-in-law of Josh's sister Jessa, who wrote on his website that were it not for consequences and lack of opportunity, many of us might also choose to indulge in the flesh, as Josh did. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't molest children, even if I was certain I could get away with it, but I don't know, Michael. Maybe that's just me. Texas floods highlight Republican hypocrisy. Leading the calls for federal disaster relief following deadly flooding in Texas and Oklahoma last week was U.S. Senator from Texas, Ted Cruz. Makes sense. Except 3 years ago, Cruz voted against federally funded disaster relief following Hurricane Sandy because he was opposed to pork barrel spending contained in the bill. So now that we know where Ted's priorities lie, voting against pork is more important than voting for disaster relief, I'm sure that he will vote no again just as proudly if he detects even the faintest whiff of bacon coming from the flood relief bill. Right? I mean, he's a presidential candidate now, after all. He can't afford to be seen as a hypocrite. Minister sentenced to jail for trying to perform same-sex wedding. Back in February, an Alabama probate judge banned marriage ceremonies from being performed at the Autauga County Probate Office, the same day that Alabama's ban on same-sex marriage was declared unconstitutional by a federal judge. What a coincidence. Anyway, the next day, Ann Coulter, a non-denominational minister, was arrested for attempting to officiate the wedding of a same-sex couple who had just received their marriage license at the probate office a few minutes earlier. Just this past week, Coulter was finally sentenced. She was fined $250 and given a suspended jail sentence of 30 days because in Alabama, banning same-sex marriages might be unconstitutional, but a homophobic probate judge acting like a big shot within the few square feet where he's empowered to do so, perfectly legal. Vatican official laments result of Ireland's same-sex marriage vote. Speaking of people reacting poorly to the alarming prospect of gay folks being treated the same under the law as straight folks, the Vatican's Secretary of State, Pietro Parolin, responded to Ireland's recent vote to legalize same-sex marriage by saying that he was deeply saddened by the result, calling it not just a defeat for Christian principles, but a defeat for humanity. Christ, Pete. Don't take it so hard, man. So one of the Catholic Church's teachings is now considered to be outdated and bigoted by a large portion of society. It's not like this is the first time this has happened. Just tell Pope Francis to do what you guys always do in these situations. Change the Church's teaching to something more in line with society's values, and then just pretend that that's obviously what God meant all along. It worked with heliocentrism, eventually. Ann Coulter calls Mexicans worse than ISIS. So Ann Coulter gave an interview last week where she implied that Mexican immigrants are more dangerous than members of ISIS, and she called Mexican culture obviously deficient. And you know what? I had a moment of clarity as a result of reading about this. I'm done with Ann Coulter. She's not funny, she's not insightful, she's not interesting. I know I've commented on her frequently in the past. I even did a 5 Stupid Things video about her. But I finally realized that the only appropriate response to her is to treat her just as I would treat any troll begging for attention, and to just fucking ignore her. She is worth exactly 0 seconds of my time, and from now on, that's exactly how much she will get. Now if I could just get everyone else to go along with me on this. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.